And a very warm, sunny, spring-like welcome to the 100th running of the Milan San Remo, one of the mighty spring classics. And as you join us, we're hurtling towards the Mediterranean. And the finish in the Lungomare Italo Calvino in San Remo. How it will end is anyone's guess. Will it be a break like it was last year? Will it be a mass sprint? Well, nobody can tell. Pace certainly is a high one. They've been averaging in the opening 2 hours today 48 kilometers per hour, and are now over the Torcino, the Mani, the major climbs behind them. Two of the Capi as well have been eaten up. We wait, of course, for the Cipressa and the Poggio. We cannot wait. My name's Carlton Kirby, alongside me Brian Smith. Brian, it is always a difficult one to call this. We have 11 escapees, or 8, in fact it's been trimmed down to, with the peloton a minute and 15 behind them. 43 seconds, in fact, as we get a live update right now. Always difficult to call, but you wouldn't have thought that any of these guys are talented enough to stay away, would you?
Well, they're certainly talented, the guys in the breakaway, but they're not going to stay away today. 43 seconds with the teams in the front riding really hard. This race gets faster and faster and faster. Over the years, they've put a few climbs in to stop the bunch sprint, but that isn't happening anymore. You've got a chance for your sprinter, you've got a chance for your opportunist. You've just seen the team at the front there, and they're really looking at Garzelli, looking after him. But you can just see the other teams coming up. You've seen Saxo Bank coming up. You've seen the Cervelo test team coming up, and it just gets faster and faster and faster, because everybody knows you have to be at the front as soon as you turn right onto the Cipressa.
It's always a tough one to call. It's always a pleasure to be here, however, and some massive names, none bigger, of course, than Lance Armstrong. They've been talking about him for some time now, about his comeback into Europe, naturally enough. The great man is here, but at 100 to 1 with many bookies, you'd have to, it's a very, very long shot for him to do anything here. Astana have been busy, though, haven't they, today?
They have. Just before one of the climbs, Le Mani, they came to the front and kept Armstrong out of trouble, and he did look very good there. You can just see on the coast road here, the gap coming down. It's not really the break coming back, it's more the point of position. You see Colombia, you just saw shots of Mark Cavendish. Mark Cavendish, this is his first chance of winning this Primavera of events, 25 seconds now in Milan San Remo. I think it was way back in 1964, the only British win, and that was Tom Simpson.
Yeah, good old Tom. He also said there was a right bunch of cowboys amongst the 230 riders who were taking part, which is a classic comment. David Duffield, of course, a good friend and colleague and contemporary of the great Tom, and misses him very much, naturally enough. Just homing in here on Yuri Krivtsov, one of those who've looked like he may well just be having a bid for individual glory. It's all about just shining at the moment. Unlike the sunshine, it's not likely to continue too long for these guys. Wearing the upside down 13, tradition allows you to do that. So Krivtsov, one of those, just stretching his legs for AG2R. We're just taking a look through the teams and some of the favourites out here. Alessandro Petacchi is everyone's call out there. He won in 2005. Had a good run in the Tirreno Adriatico to go as well, as Krivtsov hairs off and just takes a look over his shoulder. He's got far too much work to do, certainly on his own at the time being. Petacchi probably the favourite then, but you've got some huge names out there. Daniele Bennati as well, a lot of saying that he could well do something special. 2 podiums on the Tirreno Adriatico, and of course he had a great year last year with 3 stage wins on the Giro d'Italia. Tom Boonen, never count him out. Ron McEwen's here. Stuart O'Grady took a tumble this morning and is not taking any further part. Mirko Lorenzetto as well, who we also thought might well feature in the sprints. For Lamprey, he's got a tummy bug, so is not here. Mark Cavendish, naturally enough, you've got to shout about him. He's been called into the British track cycling team for the Worlds. Well, will he do something very special here? He's going to have to cope with the likes of Thor Hushovd, probably Haussler. Robbie Hunter's here as well. Tyler Farr's running well. Enrico Rossi, they're just the sprinters. We talk about the escapees that might feature in a few moments' time. Back in a moment. Riders out there, that's Tercio from B-Box, what they call Bouygues Telecom these days. We've got Close Guard and Krivtsov, who's just kind of eased up ever so slightly. 3 men then, and they're about to be swallowed up by the peloton as we come off the third of the Tre Capi, the Capo Berta, and it is the Cipressa that is going to be challenging us fairly shortly. And that is when some of the escapees, the attackers, might well just have a go at it, and we're looking forward to seeing some of those. Pizzato is here. Philippe Gilbert could well feature as well. He's been third here, don't forget, the Belgian. Sylvain Chavanel, never to be counted out. Gasparotto as well. Daniel De Luca, Scarponi, winner of the Tirreno Adriatico. David Revelan, also from Deca Giovanni. You never know. And Luca Paolini, always a feature quite often when it comes to Italian races. There's a lot of Italian riders who've been welcomed here, as you see, Mr. Christoph just going back and being swallowed up here. I think, Brian, we are heading for one heck of a day here. Makes you wonder, though, the pace that they kept up early on. It was around about 48 kilometres now for the first 2 hours. Is this going to play into the hands of the attackers? Will the sprinters have lost some of their legs out there?
Well, looking at the sprint on the screen there, Mark Cavendish in a very, very good position, but you also just in front. Just behind him there, you see Tom Boonen in the white and the quick step, but Pizzato's up there and most of the guys. But it's Francais de Dieu leading at the front in third place in the red guy on form at the moment. Garzelli is right up there as well. So, but we started off with 11 in the breakaway. It went down to 8 riders. Now we're on one of the major climbs of this finish of this Milan San Remo, and now it's Francais de Dieu coming to the front, but you see Tom Boone in there. Everybody's in there with a chance, but I think we're going to have to wait till we're well into the Suppressor and the Poggio to see some of the guys, because one of the guys on form at the moment is David Rebellin. He's never won this race. He rides for Deca Giovanni, and he's got the winner of Tirreno Adriatico. We are on the lower slopes of the Suppressor at the moment, 5.7 kilometres uphill. 3.2 kilometres downhill, and then you've got 11 kilometres. You just see the damage it's been doing at the back, and it's big elastic band effect, and these guys are just going to go, one by one go out the back of the peloton. But 11 kilometres flat, and then we've got the Poggio, and it's an average gradient of 8%, 3.7 kilometres uphill, and from the top of the Poggio, all downhill, 6.2 kilometres to the finish.
Yeah, that's where going up the hill of the Poggio, of course, that's where the main attack might well come. If it goes out early, then it could always happen there. Lance Armstrong, we just picked him up momentarily there. They've been working very hard, Astana. We've kind of been surprised and kind of working out who they're working for. It might be Yaroslav Popovich, the Ukrainian. He's certainly got the legs to do it. Lance Armstrong, we don't believe, has got the power just yet, and we've got Scarponi on the front. A lot of other people are calling him as well out there as a possible feature. You never know. Just going back to Team Columbia, they've been saying that Mark Cavendish never won here, never been here. It may well be, if he's suffering off the climbs, the final climb, that it'll be Georges Incapi that is who they all fall behind when it comes to the sprint. But he's looking reasonably fresh out there. I know we've still got the two major climbs to come, but he went over the Torcino and the Maini, second time that mountain has featured, and he seems to have coped with those rather well.
He has coped with them really well, but this is the time, and as Fabian Wegman goes across, the gaps are starting to appear. You've got to remember, this is almost 180 miles, and the speed of this race is unbelievable. We're 24.7 kilometres from the finish today. You just see David Rebellin on Wegman, but it's this man here, winner of Tirreno Adriatico, the guy in form at the moment, Scarponi at the front. Garzelli's in there in second wheel in the red, and the lime green you've got Nibali also in there, but a lot of these guys, Sylvain Chavanel in there for quick step, and sitting in about 5th or 6th place. So all the people that we thought are on form at the moment are up near the front, and this is going to be an exciting final 24 kilometres.
Well, some would say going up the Suppressor is possibly just a little bit too early. It really does wind like a snake, as you can see. Tremendous amount of turns as they head into the Suppressor descent. Well, now, if they have managed to blow it apart, they may well just hold it on out there. You never know. Will it be an escape? Will it be a sprint? It's always hard to count. Fabian Cancellara, of course, went off. He's not here this year, unfortunately, not well. He's got family issues as well, unfortunately for him. Bereavement, we're sad to hear. Filippo Pozzato, though, finished in second place. The winner, of course, in 2006. Both of those, 08 and 06, were escapes. It was a sprint when Oscar Freire beat Allan Davis on the line in 2007. 2005, it was Petacchi, who's also back here, don't forget. Many people people's favourite if it is a sprint. Oscar Freire sadly is not with us, twice winner. He also with broken ribs, unfortunately, still recovering and hoping to get back on his bike, but it may well have messed up his spring. I think he picked those up in California, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but you can just see the damage, and this is what's been done at the moment. You've got Scarponi at the front. He doesn't want it to come to a sprint because Daikwi Giovanni, I've got David Rebellin. We said this before, he wants to win the Milan San Remo, and just see the gaps appearing on the suppressor at the moment, and that's what it's all about. You have to be near the front, because closing these gaps, when these are going uphill, you've got Gasparotto there for Lampreys. You see all the riders going out the back, but Scarponi, the man, he's decided it's not going to come down to a sprint today, and he sat at the front from the bottom of this suppressor the whole way with Garzelli in second place.
We just got a brief look at Thomas Löfqvist there, the young Swede. He's very rangy, he's a good all-rounder, and well, he's kind of the main protective man, if you like, for Mark Cavendish. A lot of times when they come to the suppressor, there's a great feeling that everyone just wants to do a bit of a go slow, just kind of hold everyone back, and it always kind of breaks down with and ends up going over the top in a long line, it seems. And well, you can understand why a lot of them want to hold it back and just, you know, keep it steady. But that was Julian Dean we just got a brief look at as well. He's in the Garmin team with Tyler Farrar, not to be discounted either. Did great job, of course, on the third stage with Tirreno Adriatico, and of course he beat Mark Cavendish on the line, let's not forget.
It is. We're just looking at these two sprinters here. Tom Boonen just at the front, 181, 177 Petacchi. These guys know when it comes up to the suppressor, they have to stay as close to the front as possible. But you're just seeing the gaps are starting to appear, and it's all down to this one man at the front. Scarponi's been at the front the whole way on this climb. He wants to split this field apart, and just look at the lineup behind him. Pizzato is in there, Chavanel's in there, but the other guy there, Ivan Basso, just putting his head out in the wind. But behind Ivan Basso is Daniele Bennati.
So it's pick the bones out of this lot time. We've got an awful lot of talent, and they're very, very high up the order at the moment. We're looking back forlornly for Mark Cavendish. There's 7 Brit riders here, by the way. Roger Hammond's here, don't forget. Jeremy Hunt, both of those for the Cervelo team. Bradley Wiggins, well known to Mark Cavendish and other track fans. He's with the Garmin outfit, and we've got Ian Stannard as well in the ISD crew.
We've just seen Lance Armstrong just on the inside, starting to suffer now. He's drifted back, too far back in this suppressor climb. He doesn't have the form to pull off one of these big classics at the moment. We'll just have to wait and see how he gets on in the major tours, but doesn't have the form today. You can just see him drifting back now.
Well, he did say that it wasn't really his cup of tea, this sort of thing, and you know, he's here, pleased to be here. Hasn't been here for an awful long time. I think it was 2002 that he last rode the San Remo. So 7 years since he rode here. Had a 3-year break, clearly taking its toll as well.
This is an unbelievable job Scarponi's doing here. You can just see the face of Garzelli in second place there, pulling the faces. Nibali still in there. Looks like Caldo Fernandez in there for Euskaltel as Ivan Basso comes up in the lime green on the right hand side. But looks as if there's 3 or 4 lime green tops of Liquigas in here at the front. But the danger man really, and what Scarponi's trying to do at the moment is try and work for the team leader of today, and that's David Rebellin.
Well, Rebellin, a veteran climber. Deco Giovanni, by the way, the Ceramenti outfit, they have been very, very busy this season. 21 wins for them. They say they're amongst the best out there. We're on the descent already from the suppressor. All those at the front are Lance. Well, he's hardly struggling. But this is the time to go for it if you want to make a break stick. And you can see it's very, very lively up front. This is perhaps exactly what we wanted to see. On the Rabobank boys as well, just drifting himself, getting into position here. It's a cheeky descent, but they have started to fracture up there, just trying to bridge over to this lot. It's Liquigas, Basso, Bennati, Nibali as well, Pelazzotti, don't forget, also involved, all working for Bennati at the end, and they're in controlling mode at the moment.
Well, Bennati's definitely in this group, and that's why even Basso is really giving it big licks at the front here as the Nibali comes up on to help out, because just shows you we're getting to the top of the suppressor now. But in the second group, Petacchi's LPR team are trying as hard as they can. You just see Cavendish just in front, but this is fracturing, and that's what they want, and that's why Daikwi Giovanni decided to go out there and try and split it up. But they didn't count on Bennati being in this group, and that's why it's strength in numbers. And Liquigas very strong. You just saw in this group as well, you've got It looks like Robbie McEwen is also in this group as well, with Jurgen Rollins, the Belgian champion. So these guys aren't going to come back.
No, McEwen clearly just not quite got his winter legs sorted out just yet. It is such a lively pace as we started this one off today, Brian. It makes you just wonder whether there was a bit of spring feistiness, a bit too much of that coming into this race today, and whether some of them just left their legs behind.
Well, you really don't know. There was a lot of illness, crashes and things like that in Paris-Nice and Tirreno Adriatico, and it's just getting your form right. But it looks as if the Liquigas boys have just hit the form at the right time with Basso and Nibali now at the front. But we've got 3.2 kilometres downhill. We've got a group of about 20, and this group behind of about 40, 50 riders coming back up. But again, it's all this yo-yo effect. It's all making the efforts, and you really don't want to be making any efforts whatsoever. The only efforts you want to do is on the Poggio. If you go out there like Scarponi done and led the whole way up the suppressor, you don't really want to do it because you can't do that twice, and the Poggio is going to suffer. But again, he'll be out there to ride for David Rebellin, who I guarantee is going to give it a go on the Poggio once we get there. But off this climb, we've got 11 kilometres of flat. You will see a general regrouping, but Liquigas in the lime green in a strong position at the moment.
They certainly are. We're going to have to take ourselves a short commercial break. It will be a short one, and then we'll be back to go up the Poggio, and then it is the blast for home. However it ends, it's going to be breathless. We know that. It always is. Rabobank just starting to make some of their moves as well. Just watch out for Flescher. Incidentally, he's kind of off the leash because Oscar Freire, with his ribs injury, is not here. Flescher could well be one of those surprises. I don't know whether we've called him yet. Seb Lagerveld, the Dutchman, has been helping him through the climbs. We'll see how Juan Antonio manages in just a few moments' time. Liquigas, quick step, enjoying life up front just for now. Francis Tijoux have had their time. Astana, well, their pace, I don't know who they were trying to fool, but well, they haven't fooled Lance Armstrong, who's just looking not laboured, but certainly not looking like a contender just now. It would have to take a dramatic change. And look at this scenery if you want drama. Fabulous, fabulous view as we cruise alongside the Mediterranean. Coming off the suppressor, time for a welcome break for those who've done the hard work going up and over the top. And one of the Columbia riders there as well. I think that is Thomas Löfqvist, the Swede. Now, Löfqvist is capable of having a go, you know. He's a rangy young man. He was terrific. He won the Young Riders jersey in the Tirreno Adriatico. And a lot of people's tip for the future. And, well, if Mark Cavendish hasn't got the legs, Team Chief was calling that they'd be supporting Hincapie. But I reckon that Löfqvist may well just have something in reserve as well, the young Swede. So watch out for him. Beautiful scenes here. Just makes you feel like summer's round the corner.
We're just coming off the suppressor now back onto the main road and the coast roads. There's three ways of winning Milan San Remo. Either you attack in a Poggio as we come down onto the coast road again. It's Nibali pulling as Pizzato there in second place. Gazzelli there in the red hand. The way to win Milan San Remo is either attacking in the Poggio or waiting for the sprint, or doing what Cancellara done and going in the last 2 kilometres. I don't think there's anybody capable of doing that today.
So we'll take that break as Cavs tries to move himself up into position. He's in relief mode at the moment, exchanging a few words. We'll be back in a moment. Tom Boonen, and let's not forget Allan Davis, his lead-out man. Don't know who's going to lead out for Cav. Probably Hincapie, as you'd imagine, if they can possibly get themselves into position. As you've already heard, Cav is amongst the leaders. And you know what? He was looking quite fresh. He just gave a little touch to Antonio Flescher and said, "Hey, fella, I'm coming through here." Looked really comfortable. He's been chatting away, kind of perky.
He is.
But everyone beware.
Yeah, definitely beware. And it's going to come down to if you can survive the Poggio, and you never know. The pace is at the front with Ivan Basso, really gritting his teeth there. In second place, you've got his teammate Nibali there, and I think it's Coldo Fernandez in there as well in third place. But this is a group about 60, maybe 70 strong, and most of the major sprinters are here. And you just see that Sanchez, the winner of Paris-Nice, coming up there, Van Summeren also in there, and Gilbert with Silence Lotto without a major win, and could he pull it off? He's going to attack in the Poggio over the top, come down the descent and possibly give Silence Lotto the first win. But this is a front group. They're 40 seconds in front of everybody else. The winner isn't here.
Do you know what? Ivan Basso is doing a great job up front. He's exactly the sort of man you want to punch a hole in the wind, isn't he? Just get in behind him and he'll drag you along. You could almost do it drafting here. Unbelievable. So as if by magic, all of a sudden you get the likes of Case Dispan just starting to make themselves felt. Escatal will also have a feature. Deca Giovanni, though, have been very, very busy so far today. Quick Step also getting themselves into position. Tom Boonen, Allan Davis, Sylvain Chavanel, green jersey in the Paris-Nice, had a crash though, and recently, and not the happiest boy out there. So perhaps not going to be him today. And well, it's stretch your legs time. There is Cav yet again. The camera's absolutely loving him. He really is the new superstar at the moment. And if it's going to be a sprint finish, he's always going to be there or thereabouts. But he doesn't want to repeat of Tyler Farrar just nicking it from him late on. We'll see. Greg van Avermaet as well, the Belgian, just next to him as well. He's reasonably handy. And there he goes, just stretching his legs, just pumping away. Greg must have heard what we were saying.
Yeah, well, Van Summeren's just taking him to the front, but Castepan now moving up to the front of the butt. They know how important it is. You really have to make two huge efforts in this to stay near the front, and that's coming up to the suppressor and coming up to the bottom of the Poggio. We said there just before, there's 11 kilometres to the front, and I think for me, Castepan have maybe come to the front too early. A lot of teams just sitting back and maybe trying to move up. But you've got Allan Davis here, you've got Barredo there, Quick Stepper here in numbers. As we see Deca Giovanni, they're riding for one person today, and that person is David Rebellin. We're going to have loads and loads of people wanting to attack up the Poggio here. Will it stay together? We don't know, because there's so many sprinters in here. When you think of Bennati, Boonen, Cavendish, they're all in this front group.
Well, they are all in this front group. Deca Giovanni, I wasn't sure whether he was taking a drink or whether he was on the radio. You see Colombia, centre of your screen, in the yellow, just kind of being mobbed for the time being. Case Dispan also getting themselves into position. This is fantastic stuff. Don't forget, if you come off the Poggio, you really can go for it from there. Don't forget, the descent is only 6.2 kilometres from home. And you've got some handy guys in there. Joachim Rodriguez is there. So is Luis Leon Sanchez, don't forget, number 56. Watch out for him in a familiar Case Dispan outfit. It's going to be a fascinating run-in. The AG2R boys as well. Elmajo probably be the guy that they're riding for this time, Ryan.
Number 75 just in there as a Basseyev just comes up on the left-hand side and for Astana there. But number 75, Cervelo test team. You've got Thor Hushovd in there as well. So let's not forget about all the riders we've got here for sprinters, but let's not forget about the people that can have a go in the Poggio. De Luca's still in there, but De Luca, LPR have got two chances. They've got De Luca to go in the Poggio, or they've got Petacchi for the sprint. So it's going to be really, really exciting as we start to get to the bottom of the Poggio very, very shortly.
So, pace up, ganders up. It's time to get yourself into position. It may sound like an awful long way out here, but to be honest, Brian, when you're coming in on the final few turns, when you've got 1 kilometre to go here, it does get twisty. There are some really nasty turns. As you come off the Corso Cavallotti into just heading for the 1k to go, the speed is absolutely tremendous there. You're effectively coming along the promenade into the final finish straight there. When do you go?
Well, Cancellara went within the last 2 kilometres, but I just said I don't think there's anybody capable of holding off these riders. I think what we're looking at this year, the pace has been so high and so intense in this Milan-San Remo today. I don't think we would imagine that so many sprinters would be here. You saw Scarponi go on, as we say, the gap 1:15 back to the second group. We saw Scarponi go from the bottom of the suppressor all the way up, trying to split it. But these guys are getting fitter, they're getting faster, and you know the sprinters are still in here, and we're just rhyming off Boonen, Bennati, Petacchi, Cavendish, Hushovd. All the sprinters coming into the race are all in this front group, and how the other guy's going to win? So the only way they're going to win is by doing a Cancellara, which I don't think there's anybody here capable. The only person maybe be Gilbert, but I think what we'll see as soon as we get into the Poggio, we'll see the likes of Gilbert, Sanchez, and Rebellin trying to go. But also in here, just noticed in there, there's also Andy Schleck. So but George Hincapie there, just looking after Cav in the yellow Columbia top with his Oakleys on, so he is very much motivation behind Cavendish pulling off the win here today.
Do you know what? You get a physical knowledge as well in your legs, and I think just a mental belief as well that you can do things. Cavendish has started to get some climbs under his belt, and you never know, one day the the big tours might well come his way. He's becoming a fantastic all-rounder, and he's proved that today, Brian. He's gone over some big stuff and done it well, stayed fresh, and he's in with more than a shout here. He's probably starting to edge up amongst the favourites.
Yeah, it's on the suppressor. He was in the second group. This group split into about 20 with about 40 riders behind. But this race, you put anybody at the bottom of the Poggio, still, you know, in a group like this, you see Andres Clear there just in the black jersey, Barredo there just in front, but you put anybody at the bottom, you've got to remember that we hit the bottom of the Poggio, there's only about 10 kilometres to go to the finish, 3.7 kilometres of struggling uphill. If you stay there, then you're in with a good chance. As we see now, Silence Lotto come to the front with Van Summeren.
Well, just again, Garzelli's still busy. So is Paolini for Aqua, the red-shirted outfits, and just going straight off the front, one of the Astana big boys. I think that was the Kazakh, Iglinski. Now, he's been looking reasonably handy. So is the Ukrainian, Yaroslav Popovic. It's a whole, I think there's 3 Kazakhs and a couple of Ukrainians within the Astana crew today. And Rabobank starting to get themselves a little bit busy as well. My outside tip for today is Juan Antonio Flecha.
Well, he's a possible winner. He's been thereabouts. You just see him just the centre of our picture at the moment in the arms there, but it's Nick Nuyens at the front trying to help Flecha as we just go on to the bottom of the Poggio, just swinging right very, very soon. And it's all about position. As you see, it's constantly changing at the front of this group, but there's so many people that are still in with a good shout of winning here. You see Pozzato down there in the front, so all the sprinters, we're mentioning them all the time, are still in with a shout. This is going to be great when we hit the bottom of the Poggio. Where's the winner going to come from? Are they going to control things, or is it just going to be one after the other trying to fire off the front? 9.9 kilometres to go.
Well, they've got to get up the Poggio and then down again. There'll be 6.2 kilometres to go when they come off the top of it. You may not think it's much of a climb, but believe me, it's still a sapper, particularly at this sort of pace.
Well, we're on it now, and it looks like, again, it's François Dieu taking off from the bottom. They've done this at the suppressor, but in third and fourth places, you've got Sylvain Chavanel. Allan Davis is also in there, so Allan Davis showing well in the Tour Down Under, winning that, and coming over here to Europe with still some good form.
That's a very, very good form. Just looking at Bonucci there for LPR brakes. They'll be working for Petacchi, who we haven't mentioned an awful lot. We spoke about him at the top of our broadcast today. Daniel De Luca as well is within that crew. Watch out for Petacchi. He started off as many people's favourite, the Quick-Step boys, working for Tom Boonen, and Allan Davis suddenly just step it up here. Yeah,
we come into this race thinking Chavanel, terrific form at the moment, and this just goes to show you, because he's a possible person that could have attacked in the Poggio and kept it all the way to the finish. He's not doing that. They're all riding for Tom Boonen today, because Sylvain Chavanel comes to the front and tries to control the pace. If he wanted to try and win this race today, he'd be keeping on the wheels and trying to attack further up, as we see Bennati and now up to the front. This is the man that I think is a big danger man. David Rebellin, George Hincapie there looking after Mark Cavendish. Is a lot of riders are all over the place at the moment. Julian Dean in there, the New Zealander still in there, so everybody we thought would still be in with a shout is in here with 8.8 kilometres to go to the finish.
Well, Julian Dean working for Tyler Farrar, who beat Cavendish in that third stage of the Tirreno Adriatico for Garmin. You saw Basso as well. They'll be working for Bennati. They've also got Nibali and Pelazzotti as well, who are capable of making a break. It's a fascinating one. I just hope we've got a decent camera angle when it comes to the final run in. It's likely to be slewed all across the road. There's Mark Cavendish, and he's looking handy. He's spinning here by the looks of things.
Yeah, just best way for him. Yeah, Carrollton there, just spinning. Yeah. He's sitting in the point of the saddle. This looks as if it's just an easy uphill. There's 3.7 kilometres, nice and easy, but you don't know. You know, the guys have almost done, they have done 170 miles. You can up here, the average gradient is 9%, and they are going up here very fast. This race is not about the severity of the climbs or the wind, it's about the speed. And people would come along in here, got the Poggio and think, well, was that it? But after 170 miles, it's a leg breaker.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you or I started at the bottom, well, obviously not you, Brian, but if I started at the bottom, I'd be well out of puff. I can tell you by this point, I'm just talking at the bottom of the Poggio, never mind the rest of the day. 180 miles, don't forget, 298 kilometres in all. A massive day, the biggest, longest distance of all of the Spring Classics. And just look how feisty it is up front. They still can't calm it down, and they won't until this ends. Scarponi as well, if we mentioned him, winner of the Tirreno Adriatico. He could well stretch his legs. We just had a brief look at him. Deco Giovanni are very, very pleased with their start to the season, saying that they're top dogs at the moment. I think they might well be up there on the UCI ranking as a team. They're certainly carrying an awful lot of success with them. Is it ballast? Well, we'll find out.
Well, still Sylvain Chavanel, Scott Davis in second place there. Looks like Pelazzotti up there in third place. Karsten Kroon is up there. And everybody just sitting into this pace, this very, very fast pace that Sylvain Chavanel and the Quick Steps are doing. They want to control things. They have got strength in numbers, but nobody's deciding to strike out here. And it just goes to show you that you put somebody like Sylvain Chavanel in there, a very difficult pace, nobody's attacked yet.
Pizzato was there as well, second here, and last year, don't forget. Well, he's in, so is Robbie McEwen, although I think we saw him in that subgroup. He's been dropped, yeah, but so Pizzato's kind of lost any help he might have. It might well sort of let him off the leash to have a go here. Pizzato's probably the man you would call if you were going to have call a breakaway. Maybe Philippe Gilbert as well, the Sans Lotto boy. He's also in here, but it looks like it might well come down to a sprint. We are waiting until they get to the top here, see if anyone goes for it. I think they're all too fresh for an attack to work here.
Well, I think they're all looking around, and all the top sprinters are here, and that's what everybody wants it to come down to. They want to come down to a sprint, and you know, we just saw Barredo coming up here, so we've got 3 riders. We've got someone in there from AG2R, but we've got 3 riders from Quick Step at front. But on the left-hand side, just coming up alongside, and David Rebellin decides to go, as we thought, Garzelli straight on his wheel.
Well, there we have it. Already we've got somebody who's prepared to have a go. And David Rebellin, veteran climber, has a go. Look at him. It doesn't look like he's overly comfortable here. And Garzelli's already sticking with him from the Acquasaponi crew. Rebellin, open-mouthed, wants to break it apart, checks over his shoulder to see who's with him. The answer is plenty. That's his problem.
You just see it when he went to the left-hand side, and everybody's waiting for him to go. Everybody knew he was going to go. Garzelli goes with him. Nibali there in the green goes with him as well. But this is just the start. But Pozzato comes. He knows that he might not be the fastest when it comes to the finish, and he's got some good form at the moment. He doesn't want to wait for a sprint. So the Katusha rider deciding, too many fast boys here. I want to try and do it before it comes down into San Remo.
Yeah, the Katusha crew, a new team perhaps to your ears. The Katusha make rocket systems. You may well have seen being very busy over the last few years. And there we have it, 291 of the 298. We're coming over the top of the Poggio. When it gets 6.2 kilometers to go, we are going to be full on here, and it's going to happen any moment now.
Yeah, we've just seen with that attack with Rebellin there, just splitting a wee bit, but you just see the big one long line, and everybody knows that they've got to stay within about you know, the top 10, top 20 there. But it's Pozzato, he's distancing everybody else. He wants to get to the top. We are at the top. We're going to swing left here. We're onto the descent. Rebellin in second place. Nibali comes across the top. We get from the AG2R rider, but it's Columbia that come to the front and try and shut things down. The gap's not big enough. We're going to go down this descent, and it's all about the sprinters for me now.
Well, you've got to be careful coming through some of these what looks like innocuous corners. You can quite easily get it wrong and go into the walls. If you're on one of these hairpins, you've got to be careful. Team Katusha and Filippo Pozzato, it's his only hope. Robbie McEwen is done and dusted for the day. So is Lance Armstrong, if you're wondering why we haven't mentioned him for a while. If you're joining us late, Lance Armstrong and Robbie McEwen both in a second group here, which have kind of been dropped by these boys. But Liquigas are getting themselves into position as well. Watch out for Daniele Bennati, Basso and Nibali as well from Pale Green crew, and AG2R, Martin Elminger, as well as Yuri Krivtsov, who was very busy earlier on today. I think he's been eaten up too here. So Rebellin, Nibali, Pozzato looking handy. And we're just still trying to scrunch up our eyes from this distance and just find where to give you an update on where Mark Cavendish is. He's within the group, and he's got George Hincapie alongside him. Expect him to pop up a little bit earlier. They're hard on the brakes here. This is one of those difficult corners that if you get it wrong, you are into the barriers just on the other side. There's a nasty little drop into what looks like a slurry pond just there as well. Something to be avoided.
No, as we thought, Rebellin tried, didn't happen. Pozzato went over the top, didn't happen. And you can just see that Pozzato just going down this descent a bit gingerly for me. 4.9 kilometers to go to the finish, and you're thinking over the top, and he's he's put it out there. He's given it a go. He's decided he isn't the fastest as Nibali decides to shine at the front now. But Pizzato, for me, I'm really not committing 100% there on that descent. And we've seen people come down off the descent with a small enough gap as it was, but we're going to have about 50 riders come off the bottom of this Poggio, and it's going to be hell for leather all the way into San Remo today.
And it's already started, and Nibali's really stepped it up here. He's capable, he's a great young prospect, and just varying the pace, all of a sudden just hooking it back in, and that's the reason why. Just that nasty little right-hander there, back out, and that's the rangy figure of Thomas Lofquist, and we've got Cavendish also there.
We're just looking at the yellow rider there. Just saw him looking. It was George Hincapie.
Was it Hincapie? I thought it was Lofquist, actually, the rangy guy.
Yeah, he's looking. Cavs there.
Yeah, there he is.
That's what he's looking for. He was looking behind, and Cavs there. Cavs is in with a chance since 1964 of bringing the first or the second British win in here in Milan San Remo. 3.9 kilometres. You wouldn't, if you're a betting man, you wouldn't bet against this man in a picture at the moment. He is the fastest guy. He won the last stage of Tirreno Adriatico, and it's all about you come down to a sprint. 4 kilometres going, you've got 3 riders just slightly off the front here.
Tell you what's worrying is when you are chasing here and it gets narrow and the high walls are just masking you, and you just see a rider pop away. You're never quite sure what he's doing until you get to that corner and you can check him out. But Nibali is in a reasonable position here. I just don't think he's perhaps got exactly what it takes to do it all on his lonesome here. He's supposed to be working for Bennati, and I haven't seen him checking over his shoulder to find out where Bennati is just yet.
I'm pretty sure in this group, as I saw them just coming over the top, and I know that Boonen's there, Bennati's there, Petacchi's there, Cavendish is there, Hushovd is in there, and again, if we thought they put these climbs in, they put the suppressor in just to try and split things up in 1982. Before that, Poggio was in 1960, and they put these climbs in to split it up because it was always becoming a bunch finish. But again, top sprinters in the world are here, flying into San Remo, and it looks like it's going to be a really exciting finish here.
Cav's making his move. He was 4 riders separated, him and Hincapie, and here we are, 2.7 to go, and they may well have a go early here. Just watch for it. Nibali's capable of doing that, but he's being paced at the moment. And here come the pack, and here come the boys we think are going to do it. 2:15 is Hincapie, 2:13 is Cavendish, and they're in the near perfect position as we come in here. Once we hit the 1 kilometre to go, it's still not all done and dusted, don't forget. There's a couple of little kinks, a sharpish left-hander and then a long lazy right-hander in the run-in, and with 250 metres to go, that corner is finally unwound. That is where we're going to hit here. For the time being, it's breathless stuff out front.
Well, we never saw the killer De Luca try and go up Poggio, never had the legs, but he's on the front now for his man Petacchi, as De Luca goes. Luis Sanchez goes on the right-hand side, but he's not got the legs. He's not Cancellara. He can't keep them away, but this is going to come down to one great sprint here in San Remo today.
Luis Sanchez for Case d'Espagne had some great attacking moves so far this season. He's not going to have the time to do it right now, that's for sure. Oh, time for a big check back to see who's where out there. Everyone checking for everybody. Haussler looking for Hushovd. That was Kleyer as well, the German, looking for Hushovd. Well, is he out of shape? Is he out of place? 1.6 kilometres to go. Where is everybody? It's time to make your moves, fellas. Still too technical before you can actually do it. Then 0.6 of a kilometre before all this unwinds. You've got a very, very nasty turn just coming into it. And, well, they're just picking their way through it right now. The rainbow of Fabian Wegmann.
You've got Petacchi there just in front of Bennati there as LPR started to put numbers at the front of this race. And Bennati, Cavendish comes up the right-hand side, so the main sprinters, Hushovd is in there in the black as well, so this Petacchi, we've not seen Boonen yet as we go into the last kilometre.
Well, Quick Stepper moving up into this one as well. Everybody fancies a piece of it. LPR brakes are there. There's Cavendish looking so calm. He's almost trundling at the moment. Time for the bikes to get out of the way because they're going to come through like a train, and Hincapie starts to pick up the pace here. Bikes are waving themselves off. The whistles are blazing here, and up to the front, that's Hincapie. Where is Cavendish? He's about 3 riders back. He's on exactly the position he wants to be. Right of the field, left of your screen, and there goes Hincapie. He picks up the pace. Where's Cavendish? Has he been lost just as we come around that one of the penultimate corners here? Oh, it's still open-mouthed and waiting to do it, waiting to hit the pace. Cav just getting himself into position. We've got one of the Garmin boys looking handily as well. Haussler's in position, and here we go. It's now or never time, and the bells have rung, and this is the time. You've got to go, or just pack up and go home. And Hinckley gets on the back of him and just tries to stay with it. Cav gets himself into position. Hausler's there. Oh, my life! Well, 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 they burst for it with 250 meters to go and just at the field. Everyone got themselves out of position. Cav just blew that one when it came to the final few curves there, Brian.
Well, Haussler and Cavendish came to the line, and what a sprint what that was. And you see on right-hand side, Haussler just goes straight onto the deck. Wow, that was so exciting. I want to see it. I want to see the photo finish of that. That was so close. Fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, he's being hugged as if he's victorious here. We'll wait and see. Cavendish, I thought he just shook himself into the wrong place at the wrong time on the corner. But Cavendish looks like he's got it. He's certainly reacting as if he has. You called it as Haussler. What do you think?
Haussler was at the front there, and Cavendish just had the legs to nip past him in a photo finish, but Haussler went for a long one, and as we just see the photo finish here.
This is it. Oh, my life, he's done it. 19th. It's been... My goodness, that's further down the line. We're just trying to get the main bunch there into third place. Right, let's check this out. There he goes. Has he dropped him?
Yeah,
Haussler stretches his legs. Does Cavendish leave it too late on those final bends? Well, he was already looking over and looking for some support. Now, here he comes. This is the point. Has he got enough time to catch him? Haussler stretching his legs here, already starting to have some belief, and Cavendish starts to wind him up. Now, this is the moment. Did he get by him? Where's the line?
Yes.
Picked the bones out of that. He left his victory till late. Normally he points at his guns. This time, has he got it? Mouth agape. Haussler hitting the front. Did the line. Well, you called it Haussler, and do you know what? I think you might well be right. I don't mean to have no faith. Oh, look at that.
Half a wheel, if you can see that blood thing. But I thought Cav left it to it. What a brilliant performance there for British cycling. And
my life. Well, I tell you what. Ripple of applause.
He never gave
everywhere.
Up. Never gave up.
Never give up, Mark Cavendish. Oh, ye of little faith. He's just proving, well, I think the demeanour of him afterwards, I thought at this point he'd lost it on that corner, but it wasn't to be. Haussler thought he'd got him. Don't look back at this point. Just keep going for it. Cav chased him down in massive pullback. How many meters have we got here? Probably about 100, and he made up 10 meters. That's the extra gear everyone else is looking for. Look at him go.
Oh, he just that last 50 meters, he just went bang and went up a gear as Haussler was toiling all the way to the finish there. From the front, it looked as if it was a photo finish. Hushovd, Cervelo test team takes second and third, and this was absolutely unbelievable. You know the good thing about this, Carrollton? The young guns are starting to show, and that's what we wanted to see. This is a new generation of world cycling. The young guns are here. Haussler on the left, Cavendish on the right. Head and shot, they were what, 20, 30 metres in front of everybody else. Hushovd still staying along. I thought Haussler was coming up to take Hushovd to the line, but it never happened. And Cavendish realised that. Huge one. 1964, Tom Simpson won. 2009, Mark Cavendish.
You know, he's got so many mountains in his legs now. He's starting to do it sprint-wise. He's a fantastic personality. And that says it all. Look at that. It's me again. You're right, my friend. Mark Cavendish has brought it home. Well, he's bringing it home to just about everybody. What a massive talent he is. The awakening for a lot of people was in the Tour de France last year. What will he do this time by? He's off to the track as well with the British cycling team for the internationals. World champs, can't wait. What a pullback that was. Unbelievable. God, does that. Today it turned out to be a phenomenal performance. Mark Cavendish just, well, totally bossing everything. Bennati finishing amongst those further back in 6th place. But that was the moment that we thought it was lost for Cavendish off the final corner. Well, he once again proving to everybody that he's just got something extra that nobody seems to have. Thor Hushovd and Haussler beaten further down. the order, just checking him out. Some big names. Tom Boonen back down in 15th place. You know those corners that we thought caught Mark out? I think they may well have caught Tom out there.
Well, Boonen came over the top. He was probably about 3rd or 4th from the back, went over the top of the Poggio, and there's no chance of moving up there. They had strength in numbers, Quick Step, but saying about strength in numbers, you don't need it. Cavendish had probably one rider there to help him out, and that was George Hincapie. George Hincapie made it for him, but 55 years Britain have waited for a huge win like this, and absolutely phenomenal. And if anybody's got any thoughts about winning Milan San Remo or a big classic in the future, Cavendish and Hushovd were guests at the Braveheart Fund dinner last year, so 1st and 3rd can't be bad. So if you want to come along next year to the Braveheart Fund dinner this year,
make sure you book your seat.
Yeah, you could be up there on the podium for Milan San Remo next year.
It clearly has a connection. Thanks to Ryan Smith. I'm Carlton Kirby. It was ragged at the end there, but Mark Cavendish, well, he just manages to smooth out the bumps, doesn't he? Cav was actually looking at that point, he was looking for his lead out man, still wondering when to go himself. As he looked, well, we thought that Haussler had actually made the jump and that Cav had lost it on the corners. This point, even the camera didn't believe it. Look at that. Well, he came through for victory, and Mark Cavendish has done it again. The history books are being rewritten by the Manxman. Phenomenal performance. San Remo from the Med. Bye-bye. The course just played some dives. So this is your lot then, David. Who's it going to be? Basso, Garzelli or Scarponi? I've said Garzelli earlier on. I'll let you have a second guess. Go on. There you go. Dave's just deflating his tyres to get extra grip. So
any one of these three, they'll be happy to get there, irrespective of who wins the stage today. Oh, I don't know.
He's gone quiet. He's in deep contemplation mode.
Oh God, they're all over the place, aren't they, moment? Basso's not a sprinter by any means. It's like, just stick a pin in this particular lot right now. And, oh, I don't know. Anybody back home want to join me in this? Well, I'll go for Basso, because I think he's come back from no man's land. No, he's leading out there. He hasn't got a chance in hell to lead out at the moment. So I think that he's on a no hoping chance to get the stage today. So there we go. And, well, OK, Scarponi. Have you got Scarponi as well?
No, I've got Garzelli, so we'll wait and see. I think Scarponi is going to just ease off this one ever so slightly. I think he's going to enjoy picking up the leader's jersey by the end of today. And here they come. The crowds are out there roaring them on. It's been a very, very long day in the saddle here. Nibali went off. He's been eaten back up and spat out the back of this small chasing group as it was, trying to catch Martinez. They did exactly that. Now it's time to go. The leader's jersey, it's going to be on the shoulders of Scarponi no matter what happens. But this is the run-in. It's the final run for this penultimate day on the Tirreno Adriatico, and he is going to take it like a champion. He's coming to the line. He takes the leader's jersey and looks behind him and says, "Thank you. This day belongs to me."
Got it right, didn't I?
Only in the last kilometre. But there we go. Garzelli finishing in second place with Basso third. And this is the run in as well. And don't forget, these are crucial seconds. Watch them as they click off. Don't forget that at the beginning of today, there was only 20 seconds that separated them. He is the leader now. There's confirmation of it. Martinez coming to cross the line. But there's nothing that our leaders at the start of today, Andreas Kloden or Thomas Lofquist, could do to wind in that very, very brave move, as it was, by Scarponi and all. He has taken the leader's jersey in emphatic fashion by winning today's stage. That is the way to do it.
Well, the Redmonds are having a bit of a go here, by the way. They've got some old scores to settle amongst themselves. Our poor leader's just being blown apart and out the back. There's no doubt about it. 6 hours and 36 minutes of racing on your screen right now. And what an interesting day we've got. And it ain't over yet by tomorrow. I'm sure about that, by the way.
Well, you never know what's been left behind on some of these stages. They're very, very tough, hard to call. And across the line, the remainders come here.
LPR again, they've done a wonderful job again, but I think they've lost their momentum right now. So,
and there comes Lofquist crossing the line now, and just behind there is our leader crossing the line now. Andreas Kloden will be handing over that leader's jersey to a very, very, very star-studded Scarponi. He has he is part of a team which has more writing on it than not. But what a day he has, and something else to add to his Palmares. Look at that. Thank you very much, he says. Terrific. To actually take the leader's jersey in that style, David, that is it. It is stylish. What a day it was.
It is. You're quite right about the number of letters on his jersey, by the way. Gosh, his team manager will be rather pleased with that as well.
I think so.
I don't know. I mean, he managed to get so many sponsors there, but at least that opportunity there to freeze that frame and put it into the Italian press. No, I'd be rather pleased with that particular one. And
so there we have it. Scarponi takes it ahead of Gazzelli, Basso, De Luca and Rodriguez. Very, very brave effort by so many of the riders today. I have to say, I felt sorry for Claude. He looked to be struggling for most of the day. Thomas Lofquist looked fresh, but just found himself in the wrong part of the field for just too long. So there has been a change in the overall ranking as we draw to a close. Tomorrow, the leader's jersey will be on the shoulders of that man, Mr. Scarponi. We call him that. Michele has done it. And done it in some style today over what has been a torturous day, a very long day as well. Gazzelli finishing in second place after a fine day in the saddle for him. Basso, well, he and Nibali thought they were going to spoil the party today. Didn't quite happen for them. Nibali not in the best of fitness. Poor old Martinez went out alone, got caught. That is our overall ranking, with Gazzelli 25 seconds now adrift going into tomorrow's final stage, which of course I myself, Carlton Kirby, and our good friend David Duffield will be here to enjoy it live on Eurosport.
Yes. Sermonti, PVC, Gergamoti, Adroti, Giancarlotti. I've got his name. I read it out. That's just it tomorrow.
That's just the team. Yes, they have more sponsors than you and I could shake a stick at. We shall. Tremendous. And the sun has come to join us here for a very pleasant evening high, well, towards the Adriatic coast, and we do spin back on ourselves and head for the coastal section tomorrow. It is the Adriatic. It will be breezy. Let's hope we don't have the awful weather that we had last year, which just about rained everything off. Nobody's going to rain on the parade of Mr. Scarponi, though. He did the business today. He's our leader going into the final stage of the Tirreno Adriatico tomorrow.
Complete sports coverage of all the major stories, scores and results, and live action on demand. All online at eurosport.yahoo.co.uk.
As some of you may or may not know, I've decided to race my bicycle again.
Lance Armstrong, 7 times winner of the Tour de France. Now he's back. And he's not just along for the ride, but almost 40. He set himself a huge challenge. Victory in the Giro. But has he still got the power? Or is it all wishful thinking? Time will tell. The Giro, starting on May the 9th. Live on British Eurosport.
Welcome to the final day of the 44th running of the Tirreno Adriatico. Surely one for the sprinters. As you can see, we're at the start-finish line right here, and we've still got a few laps remaining, as you can see, along this holiday seaside resort of San Benedetto del Tronto. Well, this year's race between the seas has had just about everything. Some thrilling climbs, great sprints, and bold battles for every single one of the jerseys. Our new leader is, of course, Michele Scarponi, who held on brilliantly through the climbs yesterday. And it came good at the end to take the blue jersey in style by winning a very difficult day in the saddle. Well, Astana's Andreas Kloden and Colombia's Thomas Lofquist got caught out yesterday and now find themselves over a minute down overall. So barring a shock, it looks like we have our winner. But there's still the matter of final stage glory to be decided, and a sprint fest could be in the offing, so it's take your pick time out there. Michele Scarponi leading the classification in the blue jersey. Julian L. Ferres of Cofidis is leading the points class, and after good work by him yesterday, particularly at the end when he came home in 7th, it means that he's likely to hold on to that. Mountain class did change as well. Igor Martinez, who really pushed hard through the climbs yesterday, all on his lonesome for most of it. Yeah, he is now the holder of the mountains classification. They can't take that off his back either. And likewise for Thomas Lofquist, who clearly is the best young rider out there. Thomas just got caught out like Cloden did, and unfortunately it was a bad day for Sweden and Germany. So here we are, live on the Italian Adriatic coast, and an absolutely beautiful part of the world, you have to say. When the sun's on your back, everything seems fine, except of course if you just happen to be gunning for today's final sprint glory. Not that any of the jerseys will change, but it will be something spectacular, that's for sure. Will Mark Cavendish bring the guns to the table? We'll find out. Gerald Cholik perhaps in the frame as well. Baden Cook, Robin McEwen, Alessandro Petacchi, Tom Boonen, Daniele Bennati. There's some great names out there, more as well, including the likes of Robbie Hunter, etc. Well, this was the start earlier on this morning, and they've been a little bit busy. It was kind of lumpy early on, nothing too serious, you understand, just to kind of remind us that we have got a few mountains on each and every day. And then of course it is the big run-in and the circuits that you have to contend with. Well, there was a quick look at our mountains jersey. Igor Martinez, who did so well yesterday. The man in pink, Julian Alferez, who held all the jerseys at the beginning of the day, and it was signing up time earlier on today. David, it's been a terrific tour, this one. We've had just about everything that you could possibly want, and we're set up for a nice finale.
And now that we've just seen Rebel signing in as well, by the way. What we're getting here is a mixture of new talent on the block, and this guy here also, I think, has caused a few surprises yesterday. He rides with quite a small team, by the way, and often teams play a big part in this race, and I think that surprised a few people yesterday. But normally the penultimate stage on this event is not that important, but yesterday it was. And so, hello, yes, goodbye. And I think many of them, by the way, are quite happy to get here. And also the other thing is more fish to fry, because we've got the Milan San Remo coming this weekend as well, haven't we?
Yep, it's kind of a stretch of the legs, if you like. Milan San Remo is a fabulous mix, as you all know. And when these spring classics pop up, it really is a pleasure for the riders to take part in them. Big, big feathers in caps, that's what it's all about. Well, today, already, we've got 3 riders up the road, being pursued by everybody. They were looking at the Van Soleil Wim de Vogt of Belgium. And 3 minutes and 5, that's trimming down very, very quickly indeed. Cyril Slaughter, that's Oliver Kazan of Belgium, so a couple of Belgians here as well as the Russian Mikhail Ignatiev from the Katusha outfit. One of the new teams today, Gert Stigmans has signed for Katusha, although he's not here, and he would certainly have been part of our ranking or ratings for a good finish here today had he been here, David.
Yes, the big thing is, of course, with the sprinters who have been surviving all the way through, is what have they got left in the tank, and we won't know. There's nothing we could find yesterday to say. If you looked at, by the way, at the sprinters, they came in something like half an hour down on the rest of the field. What I call the usual suspects were in there. And so they're all watching each other, waiting for the day. And so, well, you know how many sprints. We've got them all listed down here. And I won't say you can just put a pin in that little list there, but I think this will come back together. They're out there making sure that they get their brand on television, and this is what it's all about, by the way. And this new team we've got here, the Katusha team, I think there are about 3 or 4 different ways which you could pronounce it. Depends whether you come from Russia or which other part of the world you come from. And they've got a very complicated jersey as well, where they've got different names over different sides of it, so just confuse everybody, including us commentators. But at least we can spot them out here on this particular run through. And lovely sunshiny day, by the way, after yesterday with that snow. That caught people on surprise, by the way, because the day before it snowed overnight, and I think that 1 or 2 not only tired legs but also had to be very careful, because one thing, as I can say, Carl, when you've been a bike rider and you're going into cold conditions like that, you can cause problems, and you don't want to push yourself too much. So the thing is, what was happening yesterday was good of those guys up in the front who were prepared to bury themselves, not thinking about the Milan San Remo yet to come, but other guys will say, well, make sure I don't get too cold, you know, particularly not only going up but coming down the other side. So fascinating race we've had so far, and it ain't over yet.
No, it's not. We're just trying to pick out Tom Boonen. I think we've got Allan Davis there, the Australian, who's also a sprinter. Tom Boonen, of course, also part of the Quickstep outfit. Allan Davis could well be one of those that is in the mix a little bit later on. You just saw the 3 breakaway riders who've got 3 minutes on the pack at the moment. They've just gone over the start-finish line, and as you may or may not have noticed, there was a little banner saying 4 to go, 4 laps remaining. Well, it's pan flat, this one, kind of up and down the promenade, and they may well see the riders coming back up the other way ahead of them on the other side of the road, and one of the commissars one of the bike commissars just telling the cameraman, giving him a little tap on the shoulder and saying, come on, get yourself away. We may well have some breakaways going and you're just a bit too close. They've been warned a couple of times, the camera crew, in this one.
Normal. Say no miles, they say. And look, you can see various teams begin to come through. It's a bit like yet, I think, for the big sprinter teams, what's left of them. That's the other interesting thing in trying to say who can win when they come back together. With all due respect to our lads here on your screen.
Calling for help?
Yep. Has he got a puncture or does he want to drink? I don't know. We'll just see when in fact, he's just put his hand up there to talk to his team manager. So I think he's got a puncture on the front wheel, I think.
Looks like it.
I'm just waiting to see, but no, it's back wheel.
Yeah, find out right now. There we are.
Good rider. I'm sorry he's in trouble here because he's a very quick lad indeed. Of course, the fortunate thing is that his team car was up in the break and could get to him rather quickly, and because he didn't have a neutral car there, half the trouble with the brake, if you've got a neutral car behind, they don't always have the proper wheels which fit into your frame. On this occasion, with those three guys in front, because they're 5 minutes ahead of the rest of the field, just told the average people don't know much about bike racing, Carlton, is that the team cars are there, and therefore when he's got a problem, the arm goes up and he calls, and also the commissaires will call up his number, and so the three cars behind, immediately his car came through, the other two cars allowed him to get there, and very quickly he can make the change. Whereas if the gap was not significant enough to get the big teams up there, you have a neutral car who has to service all the different riders with different gear, so it's not that easy for the neutral service cars to look after field. He's sorted out now. You see the main field here, but not that bothered at the moment.
No, not just for now. They've got 4 laps to do it, 40 kilometres, and it's a 10k loop that they've got to deal with here, and as you can see, that is the clock ticking on the start-finish line right there. So stopped at 2 minutes and 45 with 4 to go here. We're going to take ourselves a short commercial break, and we'll be back here amongst the palm trees in this beautiful part of the world. Adriatic coast is a very passive kind of area of the world. The beaches generally tend to be sandy and quite pleasant, with not too many rocks because there's not that much wave action, that kind of thing. So it is the flatlands, if you like, on the eastern side, a bit like the east of England as well, I suppose, where I hail from these days. But yes, the action out there will be a bit more aggressive than the passive landscape suggests. We'll be back after this break for more.
How many medals for Team GB this time? The UCI Track Cycling World Championships, starting next Wednesday at 3:30, live on British Eurosport.
All the top sporting events from Eurosport and Eurosport 2, plus the latest sport updates from Eurosport News, are available online only on Eurosport Player. Watch additional exclusive live sports events only on Eurosport Player. And when you're abroad, follow your favorite sports anytime, any place, and in multiple languages. Subscribe for a month or a year with total flexibility. To join us, go now to player.eurosport.co.uk. The Eurosport Tech Service. All the live scores, all the news, all the results and standings. From football to motorsports, it's all here. British Eurosport, the most updated and complete tech service. The battle for the UEFA Cup. Several big clubs have now crashed out. And while we still have a fistful of illustrious names in the last 16, the tournament looks wide open. The UEFA Cup, Thursday night at 10 and Friday morning at 8:30 on British Eurosport.
Welcome back live to the 44th running of the Tirreno Adriatico. We've got 3 men up the road. One of them's had a brief moment of dismay. Mikhail Ignatieff has had himself a little bit of a puncture. We're just looking back in the main bunch at the moment. And Tom Bonan, one of the big guns out here today. Just having a brief look at him. We've been trying to pick out who we think may well be the big stars of the final push. Well, they've got some work to do here, David. 2 minutes and 45 to catch the 3 escapees. They're starting to string out. The pace is starting to rise here.
Yeah, they'll catch them. The thing is that they will take their time to get there, because the minute they catch the breakaways, they're looking like they're slowing down now. I think they know the game is up right now. They've got the brand on television. They've been out there. We're a little climb further down. They thought they might survive, which they ain't going to do now as the teams start to form. But they're not going to catch them too soon, because once they catch them, the other guys back there who are not sprinters will start jumping around. And the big thing the sprinters teams want to do is to keep the pace up, keep it flowing, and try and wind it up. Now, people like Simone, no way does he have a chance when it comes to sprints. But the thing is that they want to stay at the particular time now to make sure they don't touch fields and crash and fall out of it. Well, there are great big gaps overall in general classification, because we can go down on the GC at the moment, and we've got riders back here within sort of 5 minutes of the leaders, within like 20 riders within 5 minutes. But they're going to make that difference today. But there are big gaps at the moment. But conversely, you don't want to fall off now, trouble to chase back, and lose a few places if you're up there. And looking back what happened yesterday, by the way, as you know, I was going for Nibali about what a great ride he did. In the end, looking down the GC, he finished 27th by 1 minute and 58 seconds down, and he dropped now. He's 10th on the general classification. So the sort out was yesterday. Now it's a day for the sprinters.
Yes, he really did find his limits. I think he was kind of seeking them himself, and once he did get them, he realised that still carrying a little bit too much weight, which you were kindly identified yesterday around his midriff.
You won't speak to me again.
I don't think so. Yeah, but we did get 2 changes yesterday, significantly, of course, 2 changes of jerseys. Michele Scarponi, who won yesterday and took the leader's jersey in some style after that fantastic break, which basically blew away Kloden and Lofquist, who were the main challengers for that jersey. Garzelli 25 seconds behind. I don't think there's going to be any swap there. I think Scarponi, Serramenti will work very hard for him. The Aqua outfit for Garzelli, I don't think they've got the legs to try and punch a 25-minute hole in the challenge here, and so it's Scarponi who will take the leader's jersey, barring any nightmare out there. Points classification, Julian Alferez, who basically did so well very early on in this tour, took all jerseys, and finally he's got the points after a very, very good ride yesterday. He came home, in fact, Ferris, in 6th place, so a real brave ride by him, and all credit to him. And Igor Martinez, who went out on his lonesome to go for the mountains classification, came home 21st in the end, but had gone over 2 of the big climbs of the tour, picked up 10 points. He'd had no points before then, and it looks like he is going to walk away with the mountains classification as well. Capelli, the nearest man to him in that ranking. And the best young rider, well, Thomas Lofquist will take that. He's had a stunning tour, the young Swede, and so the Columbia High Road already have something, but I think they would like today's stage as well. Thank you very much. And Mr. Mark Cavendish, who's just signed up for the British track cycling team for the Worlds, well, it would be nice for him to get that little feather on the way.
Yeah, I'm intrigued that he's going to ride the World Championship, but it's only in about 10 days' time or something. In fact, probably I think his event for the Madison will be about 2 weeks from now. So once he's finished here, originally I thought he's going to ride the Milan San Remo this coming weekend, but it looks like perhaps now that he's been asked to come back and sort himself with the track. I think he might be riding with the fellow from the Isle of Man, Kenno. I think the 2 of them have ridden together in the past, and he's a young rider anyway. You've got the list of the riders, haven't you?
Yeah, Peter Kenner.
Yeah, I think he might with Kenner for the endurance route. See, Newton's riding, but Newton will go on his own, I think, for the 10k. Mark, I'm not sure. No, I think he could be in there with him. I'll have to wait and see if the 2 do ride the Madison, and I'm not quite sure whether this is to do with doing well at the Worlds or whether it's education for the young lad, because in the Olympics, then certainly Mark Cavendish was not very happy with how things turned out when he went all the way to Olympics, so perhaps he's got some score to settle. So that'll be on Eurosport as well.
Yes.
And, yep, my goodness, the coverage we get, amazing.
So here we are, San Benedetto on the Adriatic coast of Italy, having come from the Mediterranean, the Tirano to the Adriatico, and yeah, both seas are being not breached but crossed too, and a beautiful part of the world it most certainly is. These 3 guys, though, not looking at the scenery and the amazing palm trees that line the promenade here, they are, well, as you see, within sight, I suppose. Certainly will be on the switchback of those chasing them down. It's just over 2 minutes now, the gap between the chasers and these 3, and a thankless task really they've got here, because with what, 3 laps remaining next time by, I don't think their legs are going to stand much, David. They're still pushing as hard as they might, but well, just looking at Oliver Kayser there, Kaysen, he's slightly labouring. If just sitting up a little bit, I think they realise that it's a day done for them so far.
Yeah, it's fairly typical that they want to stay out there as long as they can do, because there are points in the sprint competition, two sprints during this event. I don't know how to change the thing overall at all, but that goes into the pot because there is money available for that. I think they've done their job right now. I said to you earlier that once they get caught, then the whole field might slow down a bit, and then the riders who haven't got a catch Untitled Health start jumping around as well. So the big sprinters teams will just keep the lid on it, close it down a bit, slowly but surely catchy monkey, and we'll see with probably about 2 laps to go at the most, they'll catch these people. And that's, you can see how the arrowhead here is right across the road. It's when it gets all strung out, they're going to go for those 3 guys down the road, and then it could really start to happen, and we'll have to start to pick out who's likely to win.
LPR, they've doing an awful lot of work up front there. It's Petacchi, of course, winner of stage 2. Nice to see him back and on form. I suppose he could be one of the picks out there. The team's certainly working hard to keep the pace up. It's not as fast as it can be, though, and if for the likes of Mark Cavendish, they would love it to be a real train out there. It's just a question of whether anyone else has got the legs to actually just get it up to speed and allow him to drop that, just find another gear as he usually does so brilliantly. Although he's been looking a little bit off colour here. Talking about off colour, just looking at Saxo Bank, they're kind of dispersed within this main bunch at the head of the peloton. Cancellara, Andy Schleck, they've not been in the best of form here at all.
Well, Cancellara, of course, winner of this race last year, dominated all the way through from start to finish. Well, he's not been very well at all.
No, so time to sort of gird your loins, really, and have a crack. Great day yesterday in the mountains, particularly for the likes of Uskidi. They always produce, it seems, some climbers out of the middle of nowhere. They're still warming up, though, and so are we. Across the line we come yet again. It's our commissaires and the bikes, and it is our 3 leaders for the time being, and we'll get our time check as to the gap so far. One thing they have got going for them, David, is not much wind of any kind today. If you look at the fronds of the palms, yes, they're fronds, they're not moving at all here. It is very, very still, and at least they've got that in their favour. You see the clock ticking away at the top right hand side of the screen, and it looks very desolate out there. They're certainly not within sight just yet.
No, and we had a quick look there at the bunch, and I had a quick chance to see Stuart O'Grady in there, by quite a useful sprinter, and without Cancellara in the race now, Schleck also knocked it on the head. I think that he'd be on his own anyway, and he hasn't got a team round about him, but he's a crafty old so-and-so. He might be able to fit in the wheel and sit there and go for it. In fact, I think one of the riders from Saxo Bank keeping up near the front at the moment. But
are you working with Stuart?
Yeah. I just think that they're saying, well, we haven't got much to show for our exploits. Yeah, here we are. They begin to show at the front, Saxo. There's a long way to go. Of course, the thing with the Saxo Bank, they had a co-sponsor originally who was going around waving lots of euros and saying how much he was going to sponsor the team, and suddenly he disappeared. I think the law's still looking for him because they had some few questions to ask about his financial circumstances, but I won't go into that. But certainly they lost a sponsor who put some money into, or was putting money into it quite early on. But so Bjorn Rees, the team manager, had a lot to do to keep the team on the road. He's done that right now, and he's got a very strong team indeed. We're going to see him throughout the rest of this season, but no doubt about it, that caused a hiccup before it all happened. And right now it looks like Stuart O'Grady is the rider who's going to do something in the finish today. And he might catch a few people napping. He's still a courageous guy. He's got a job to do. I think they've carried him all the way for the sprint stages. Certainly he can't climb the mountains very well, and probably left him in there today. And he knows which wheels to follow. That's the other thing about some of these sprinters. And he's been around an awful long time for being on the track and what have you. Winner of the Tour Down Under when I was there many years ago. And I think he's going to know which wheel to stay in and which wheel to go for. But I think he's a long shot. Top 5, yes, but top 3, possibly.
1 minute and 57 is the gap between the leaders and those chasing them down. A lot of work being done at the moment by Columbia High Road. We said they might try and get the pace up to help out Mark Cavendish. He kind of he did well in the mountains, you've got to say. Sort of 99th and then 132nd, I think it was, his finish positions. Well, he is naturally a sprinter, and today Well, it could be his day. We're going to have to take ourselves a short break. Colombia certainly working hard out front. So are LPR, Saxo Bank as well, strangely trying to pull something out of it, probably on behalf of Stuart O'Grady, as David quite rightly pointed out. But there are others there too. Liquigas, they're working reasonably hard. And Daniele Bennati and Alessandro Petacchi from LPR possibly may well want it more than anybody else out there. It is an Italian race after all. And, well, we'll see just how they run in. We're going to take ourselves that short break while our three riders losing ground slowly but surely. Around about 1:50 now they have on the chasing bunch. Back in a moment.
So now what? Which of football's powerhouse teams is the next big challenge? One thing is certain, at this stage of the competition, there is no easy game. The UEFA quarter-final draws, the Champions League Friday morning at 11 and the UEFA Cup at midday, live on British Eurosport.
I'm Ryan Sheckler, I'm 18 years old. Guys don't really want to say that they use face products, but you look good when your face is clear. Use Proactive like I do and wake up with clear skin every day.
Order online at proactive.co.uk.
Complete Premiership and European coverage. Every match with live comments and scoring and exclusive breaking news. Follow the football season at eurosport.yahoo.co.uk. The public face of Lance Armstrong. The sporting challenge he's taken on. His personal life. British Eurosport has all you need to know in Planet Armstrong.
Welcome back. Beautiful sunshine here. We are on the Adriatic coast. It is the final day of the 44th running of the Tirreno Adriatico, and already we're starting to see a few heads over shoulders looking back to try and pick out who they're going to be supporting, where their men are, and that's Daniele Bennati we're picking out right centre of your screen in the green, just drifting off towards the top left-hand corner, number 152. Watch out for him. I think certainly the helicopter maybe helping with the fan to just push him along ever so slightly. It's not been unheard of, that, has it?
No, it hasn't. No. And well, you know, I'm just fascinated while that lot sort and saw that behind of this little group we got on the front, because we're seeing like this. We're speaking about bicycles about because I've been in industry for many years now. Canyon, that's a new kid on the block, by the way, and I think Batavus back there. I've not seen that as a brand on bicycles for an awful long time. They've been out there for an awful long time, but to be in sponsorship, it's quite fascinating what the situation is, and good, of course, to see that we've got a complete bicycle company sponsoring a whole team as well this time round, with the Giavello people who seem to have done rather well. So fascinating the way that the sport's going, Carlton, and how it's opening up throughout the Euro. I was saying earlier on, yesterday we were on air, that starting way back out there with the Tour Down Under, which is a very competitive event with Lance Armstrong taking part, and if he's going to ride the Tour of Italy this year, that's going to be tremendous. It'll be on Eurosport as well. Then, of course, we had the Tour of Qatar and the California. All these races, we didn't usually used to start racing, and the Paris-Nice, I won't be disrespectful to my good friend Sean Kelly, by the way, who won that race 7 times. That was the start of the season, which was running parallel with this one, and that was the first big race of the year to a large extent. Oh, by the way, today is St. Patrick's Day, so if Sean's listening, good on you, mate. I hope you're enjoying it.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure he will be. Although if he's celebrating it in true style, he'll be not watching the television. He'll be drinking a bit of the black stuff, I imagine.
Not till later.
Yep. Well, we just picked out Tom Boonen there a moment ago for Quick Step. They're working reasonably well as well. I think he had a bit of a bump, didn't he, in Qatar?
Yeah, he did.
Got himself hurt. And as you were saying, David, quite a feisty start to the season. The Tour of California was absolutely miserable. Everyone thinks of California as sunny, etc. But not only was it the weather inclement, it was a pretty punishing course. And I think a lot of riders were not upset. You don't want to put it that way, but certainly surprised about how taxing it was. And I think they're going to have to turn the wick down on that one in seasons to come, because it just took so much out of them.
Well, it's not only that. Yes, it's because they're racing and the sponsors want something, and they're racing at that time of the year now, and it's on television. In the old days, I can't remember because we're what, this is the 21st year of Eurosport. I remember starting out with the Milan San Remo 21 years ago, and we only had a handful of races on Eurosport, and the same with other nations, except, you know, if you had a French race on French television, and an Italian race on Italian television, now it's getting more and more worldwide, and therefore the riders are expected to show, and their sponsors have something, and they've got to come in and start to do something from day one. And with all due respect to other sports, there aren't many that expect people to turn up, you know, right the way through and do about 8 to 10 months of very competitive activity. All right, there are teams with, say, 20, 25 riders now, and they can ring the changes, but sometimes, like we've got here now, we've got the Pyrenees, it's overlapping with the Tirreno Adriatico, so you've got teams having to put two decent lots of riders in. Actually, I think he's right. I think it's good for the sport totally, and it also gives the public a more interesting thing more to look at, because also races are better. There's not the control. In the old days, I could write the script of who's going to win the thing. Very often, in years gone by, oh, this and that, and I mean, the years gone by, the races would start, and you knew full well that only these riders were any good. The rest were in there for the ride. Now, you never know. I mean, look what we had in this race from day one. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. From day one, it's been a challenge, to say the very least. You may get some surprises today as well, because what David was saying, we've kind of got split teams here, and it's a chance for some of those who've sent, let's just call it their sort of second best squad, like Astana, for instance. You never know, the likes of Maxim Iglinski may well just find something in there. He may well just pop up and surprise you all. So it's a chance for some of those who feel that they're somewhat under the shadow of other riders to come to the fore. Watch out for Gerald Czolek, by the way. The German sprinter sort of went off in a harumph from Colombia. He's now with Milram, and I've been watching Milram. They've been pretty active as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gerald Czolek would love to put one over on Mark Cavendish, who's not been functioning to his top level at the moment. You never know. Today might be the case, but Cav looked a bit lackluster earlier on. He was, of course, lost out on one of the very late sprints. So I think Cav's not really up to full strength just yet. We will see here. It was Tyler Farrar who beat him on stage 3. You know, that's a surprise in itself. I just wonder whether Czolek would like to spring another one.
Well, the thing is, they've come out of those big mountains to get here. It's not been a doddle. I mean, yesterday, 147 miles it was the actual distance. They all had to get inside the time limit, and they did it within half an hour of the leader. So imagine Mark Cavendish hauling himself over those 2 big climbs of the day, and having to get down here to this finish now. Then he's got the track ahead of him. The thing is, has he got left in the tank? And none of these sprinters really know until they get here, because they can't test themselves out up there. It's survival time up there.
Tell you one thing they can do, though, David. They can mark their launch point. They've had enough preview here, haven't they?
They have, but again, it depends on your lead-out ride. Because apart from the fact that these guys have haul themselves over the mountain, there are other teams who come here. Whoops, there they go. With riders who want to do well in the overall classification. And it depends. If you just brought a team now of sprinters who are going to hang on for the grim death. Now, this guy's great. I'd tip him for the future. He's always, all right, he's 90th overall, 47 minutes down. He's one of these typical Russian guys who's prepared to have a go. He's been always there or thereabouts, and I like guys like this, with courage, and they throw the hat in the ring and off they go. Even if they get blown out at the end, he's got 21 Ks to go. He knows that chase isn't going to happen for a bit, and he's going to go off there now, and he said, I've had enough of you lot, and off we go. That's great. I love this.
He's left the Belgians behind. Wim de Voigt for Van Soleil, sort of holiday cream, I think it is, sun cream, and Oliver Kaizen from Belgium as well with Silence Lotto. Well, he had a puncture just a lap ago, or lap and a half ago, and it'll be 2 laps to go next time by. And I think he clearly feels he's got something left in his legs here and is going to have a crack. Well, good for him. Nice to see that there's some spirit left. And Ignatieff, after a very long tour, the 44th Tirreno Adriatico, well, he's going to have a go here, and he's doing exactly that. Just surprising the Belgians and thinking, well, for goodness sake, we've still got something left, let's give it a go.
Yeah, by the way, I was mentioning bike manufacturer, by the way. He's got a ride bike called a Ridley. Now, you'd think that would be British, wouldn't you? But it's made in Belgium. I mean, the interesting thing is, in Holland, if you buy a bike in Holland, they still sell them in inches. You know, here's a Belgian manufacturer who's got a bike called the Ridley. You know, it's amazing, isn't it? How universal the world is when it comes to cycling.
Fantastic. not backward pedal brakes then?
No. Or tricycles.
So here they come, LPR, working for Petacchi, don't forget. He took the sprint on the second stage of this event. And the gap, 1 minute and 36. And they're crossing the line with 2 laps remaining. So 20 kilometers is what the ask is. I think it's probably too much of an ask for Mikhail Ignatieff to have gone off alone. We're still out there. You never know. He might just do it, David, but he's going to have to find something a bit special here. And he's finally sort of stung the Belgians into a belief. And Olivier Kaysen has decided to go for it. But poor old Wim de Vocht has said too much. Thank you and goodbye. So they've got to work together. It's the big Belgian and the slightly more diminutive Russian here, Ignatieff, chasing him down. We'll wonder how this one is going to pan out, David.
Yes, I've just been looking back at my book of words here, because sometimes I head like a sieve, and I thought...
Book of words?
Yes.
Which one would you like to pick?
Ignatieff. In the Madison, in the Olympic Games, he won the Madison Olympic Games riding with Markov. I knew it rang a bell on the track. I know that guy has popped up. He's mainly on the track. You go back what he'd done in years gone by, a track rider. Now he's switched to riding on the road. He had 4 successes in 2007, Tour of Mediterranean and race like not big ones at all. And then he popped up and got the medal in the Olympic Games in the Madison.
Ivan Basso just being picked out for you there in the green, just taking a big drink left of your screen. Meanwhile, up front, Francis de Gieux are doing a bit of work here. There's a few just starting to step up to it here. Cofidis, they'll be working for El Ferres, of course, who won the sprint on the opening stage. Don't think he's got much of a chance today. Not an overly underscored sprint specialist, but you never know. You never know at all here. But you never know. Ignatieff may well just find something that's helped him to success in the Madison on the track. That ability to vary the pace, though, which you need within the Madison, not really sure how that translates to this kind of day. It's basically full on, and he's got to go for it now. Just imagine he was going for the distance record, 1 kilometre, and he's going to need 2 if he's going to manage to make it. We're going to take ourselves a short break, and we'll be back to see if these boys do manage to hang out there. Don't think so. We'll find out soon.
Lance has a lot in common with the Milan San Remo. Been around for years, goes on for miles and miles, a one-day classic and a lifelong great. The Milan San Remo, Saturday afternoon at 2:50, live on British Eurosport.
The Eurosport Tech Service. All the live scores, all the news, all the results and standings. From football to motorsports, it's all here. British Eurosport, the most updated and complete tech service.
Welcome back. We're just taking a brief sojourn through the jerseys. As you can see, the points jersey, it's a reddy purple. I suppose you could call it a bit like Margot wine. That's Alferez leads that one. Esteban Martinez leading the mountains classification. Egoy Martinez did a fantastic job on that. The young rider is Thomas Lovquist, and that is the squads with De Giovanni, which is the short way of saying their name. And they've had a superb time of things. Hardly surprising that they're leading the teams class, because Michele Scarponi is the leader overall, and they have been working very hard for him indeed. Don't think you're going to see much of him. He'll finish within the pack today. Meanwhile, out front we have 2 escapees. There were 3. And the maximum break was around about 5 minutes. That's been trimmed down to just over the minute mark, and they're starting to look a bit breathy out there. We're looking at Cian Slaughter's Oliver Kaysen, and alongside him is Mikhail Ignatieff. They've dropped Wim de Vocht, who was part of that 3-man breakaway. Ignatieff, the gold medalist in the Olympics, don't forget, in the Madison, along with Markov. Well, he's here on his own, Ignatieff. Oh, he's of course building an alliance between Russia and Belgium here with Oliver Kaysen, but I just can't see them. Minute and a half, David. You know, it is doable, but they're going to have to work very, very hard. to stay away, and by the looks of everybody down here, they are mustering for a fight.
Yeah, we had a chance there while you were going through all what's happened so far in this race. At LPR brakes rider there, Alessandro Petacchi, he looked remarkably comfortable, sitting in there, wasn't panicking, and it just says to me that they're going to get their forces marshalled any moment now. They see where they're sitting on the topsman, these guys. There's no panic button being hit so far, and they can just reel it in. I don't know how they do it, but somehow in there they begin to work out how far it is to go and how fast they've got to go to catch them. Today, you know, I've rabbited on about I don't like these ability for the team manager to talk to the riders through their radios, but certainly the team manager can say try and warm things up a bit. But even so, the riders themselves had, even before we had the days of radio, suddenly the riders knew exactly how far to go, how fast they had to go, and how many different people took it up. And I feel very sorry for people like these two who've been out there for so long, and suddenly this great swarm comes behind them. But let's keep our fingers crossed, because sometimes it does happen. They do hang on. You've seen it, I've seen it, and I think chapeau when they do that. When they
Absolutely.
Do it.
We've got 1.5 circuits remaining. I think I said 2 kilometres. I meant 2 circuits, obviously. It's 1.5 circuits remaining. That's just under the 15-kilometre mark now as they approach that. The 2 escapees, as it is. But they've got 1.5 minutes on these boys. Well, under normal circumstances, if the terrain was just a little bit different, maybe they'd have a chance. But here, well, it's absolutely pan flat. We've got a lovely surface today. Thankfully, it is dry, not the wet that we've had in the past. It was awful last year. Everything just got washed out, including the pictures you may remember on the final day. So, in fact, I don't even think we had them coming across the line, which was dreadful. All the microwave links were down. Today, a very different day. And something of a different day perhaps for these boys. They're going for it. Just having a look further down, David, Lamprey looked very busy. Alessandro Balan and Angelo Furlan as well. A couple of handy sprinters for them. And they've been a bit quiet, Lamprey, during this tour.
They have, but again, I'm not quite sure that when the real sprinters start to go, that we're going to see anything from them. I could be terribly wrong. I don't know. I still think that if we're going to pick a sprinter now between us, rather than who might do it, because
go on then.
I'm not sure you should have asked me, because I'm not certain yet.
Well, you asked yourself.
Right. Do you know, I think that it's going to go to a Petacchi.
Do you now?
Yes.
All right then, I'm going to go for Bennati.
Right, okay.
Because I just think that they've got, you know what, Tom Boone will just blow us out the water.
He will, he'll do that.
Yeah.
And Mark Cavendish, at the moment, if he's heard this, or somebody said, you didn't get tipped, young man, they won't speak to us again.
Quite right.
But the trouble with Mark, we don't know, do we? I mean, he had a good start the season. He's not been firing all cylinders. He's going to ride the track. Is he going to use this as a chance to get something before he goes, or is he just going to ride this to get the miles in his legs? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it?
Yes.
Especially when he's been called up and he's got other things to think about now.
Yes.
All of a sudden he's got the track back in his head. It's a strange one.
No, do you know, could I change my mind?
No.
Oh. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day, isn't it?
Yeah, you could have. You see, you're too late now.
McEwen. Not because he's Irish, but McEwen.
And O'Grady. Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
yes, I know. Well, anyway, back to reality. Drifting away
folks.
Off Duffield's cloud. Yeah, back to reality here. And you can see there's a lot of action going on there, and the teams are just starting to pull themselves together here. 13.3 to go, so we'll come to the bell will ring on our final lap in 3.2 kilometres away from these guys. They've stepped up a bit here. They're maintaining the gap, but they are starting to look, as we've said before, just a little bit breathy, and that is Oliver Kaiser. He's the bigger man of these two, and it's a bit of a cheat for Ignatieff. Being a big fella myself, I always feel slightly sorry for the big lads, because they're punching a huge hole in the air for the likes of Ignatieff to actually just sit very comfortably, and the smaller rider gets more rest behind a big rider than vice versa, because he's still in the wind.
Are you telling me
the poor Belgian's still in the wind now because Ignatieff hunched up. Look, he can't. He's trying to get his level best to get his body down. Can't do it. Liquid gas coming to the front. Maybe my Bennati pick might well just happen. LPR are also looking lively. So is Milram, and I think we're just picking out one of the shirts out there as well. Yes, indeed. Number 132 on his back. Tyler Farrar, who won the third stage. Not that's for the Garmin Slipstream outfit. Not wearing one of the jerseys, but certainly one of the star turns in this Tirreno Adriatico. And Liquigas hit the front as if by magic, trying to drag on Mr. Bennati. Come on, fellas.
It's your tip. By the way, going back to well, I was 6'4" from a cotton sock. I used to get away in breaks years gone by with luck, and I remember I had 4 or 5 guys in a break, and I'd be the tallest, and it didn't matter whether I was at the front or the back, I had no shelter at all. And every hill we came to, particularly down the Midlands, up the Cotswold, a place like that, I was straight out the back, believe you me. Oh dear, dear. Anyway, so they're going to catch those 2 guys, unfortunately.
It's busy, isn't it? You can see it. They've got it in mind now. 10 kilometres remaining. If they really did stretch their legs, they could probably catch them in 3 if they really went for it. I think they're just making sure that they're maintaining that pace as Francis de Jeux start to come through and have a look and think about getting themselves into a decent position as well. David, who do you fancy out of that team?
What, Francis de Jeux?
They will sent most of their big guns to the Paris-Nice. We've got Kopov, Geslau, Utrovic, the Belarusian, Meersman, the Belgian's not bad, Alfredo Roux, Salzberger and Vaugrenard. Maybe they're just trying to get to the front to do something early on because they know that this day's going to slip away from them.
I can't see them having any fish to fry at the end here. Depends who's said, help us out today, we need your help.
There's Tyler Farrar. He might be an interesting surprise. Martin Mascant, the Dutchman, is just in front of him, punching again a big hole in the wind. The Dutch and the Belgians really do quite often just have that big stature which is worthwhile getting behind. The LPR boys working well. Maybe Petacchi will be the boy today. Never count out Danny De Luca. More of an overall rider though. Meanwhile, out front there is Oliver Kaizen, the Belgian. I've seen Oliver go off like this before. I think he had a crack in Poland as well last year. Up one of the big climbs, the young man. I think he just ran out of steam. Did he hold on for the victory on the Tour of Poland in one of the stages there?
I think he did, didn't he? Yeah, because they all left him out there. They did like 6 laps around a small circuit or something, and they never got to him because by the time they sorted themselves out, it was done and dusted. Was
that Kaizen, or was my memory? We'll have a look in a moment.
Have to go look in the books. Yeah.
Yes.
But these things happen from time. Like I said to you a few minutes ago, that occasionally when somebody goes out there and the rest sort of let them out there, they don't get caught. Yeah.
So as David dives into the archive, the quick swap of Mikhail Ignatieff and Oli Kaizen. I wonder if it is him. I just seem to remember his sort of rangy style. If it is him, well, he is capable of springing a bit of a surprise here. Yes, we'll find out for you in just a moment. As you can see, he's taking the full brunt of the air above the back of Ignatieff. You can see how unfair that is. And the bell is ringing. There we have it. 10 kilometers remaining as that bell sounds, and within sight are they. So the final circuit on the streets here on our final day of the Tirreno Adriatico. The San Benedetto del Tronto is where we are. And so if you fancy a brief holiday on the Adriatic, then maybe this could be your place. Final turn it is. What have you got?
He didn't win that event. His last victory was in 2007. He won the Grand Prix Gerrit Knetemann, very good friend of mine, Knetemann. Who's dead now.
There you are. It was another rangy Belgian. So forgive us for that.
So there we are.
So here they are, 42 seconds now, David, and they've got 10 kilometres to wind that in. I don't think we've got any worries.
No trouble at all. No. They could easily do 10 seconds per kilometre, just like that. Snap your fingers so they get them very quickly. No doubt about it.
Milram being a bit quiet. Maybe this is their day. Time to sort of step up and do something as the bell rings upon them. They all know they've got 10 kilometres of riding still remaining here. And you never know. We were talking about Milram. Gerald Cholek, more than handy. Could be your man.
Those are 2 riders. Well, that's it. All over by the shouting.
I think so. I think they know it too, David. So we've got 10 kilometres of racing left of this Tirreno Adriatico. It's been an interesting tour so far. We've had, well, just about everything thrown at them. We've had a few surprises as well, and some of the bigger names that you perhaps thought would have actually come out here and cracked it, just not really shone as brightly as possibly they might, whereas others have absolutely blown us away. And yesterday, that Egon Martinez, superb, taking the mountain classification with with doing those two mighty climbs all on his lonesome. Very, very lonely affair out there, picking up 10 points because of the classification that was on offer. And Scarponi doing a superb job to pick up the blue jersey, and we don't think that he's, of course, within the main bunch. We don't think that he's got any problems carrying on that jersey until the end. Liquigas just leading the point at the moment, and if it is to be somebody from Liquigas, likely to be Bennati, which is my pick for the day. Alessandro Petacchi is David's pick, although we are looking at Cholek for Milram, as well as a whole host of others. Never ever count out Mark Cavendish. In fact, you thought you could count on him until we came to this tour. It just looked a little bit lackluster, which is why he's not got our pick today, but he's probably going to surprise us. And there goes Ignatieff. He says, see ya. Just getting his legs back from the Olympics in Beijing by the looks of things.
Look at the track, man. He's built like a track rider. He says goodbye, and here he goes. He looks at him, you know, off he goes.
Almost disdain.
It is, isn't it? Okay. When he gets back on the bike, you watch the whole shape of this rider here. I'm not doing disrespect, he's not a road rider, but he is a track rider, you see, in this particular. When he gets on his bike, he's a little guy anyway, and off he goes, and that was it. Beautiful. And he's gone.
He has gone. Leaving Kozen in his wake at the moment, who just gets his head down, and there is the long train, David, and I suspect that they'll rebunch, regroup, and then start all over again. But this is the trail you're likely to see as we head for that final run in. We're on it right now. It's the final lap. And there we have it right up front, Tom Boonen. Well, we did mention him quietly, under bated breath. He's getting his legs in here, just kind of stretching himself beautifully. And
why is he doing that?
I don't know. That was Bert Grabsch, who is working for Mark Cavendish. Don't know why Boonen is doing that. Maybe the rest of his team is trying to encourage them to come and help him. But it seemed a bit too much of an effort early on. It was bizarre.
I'm not quite sure why he's doing that. I think he's having an up and down season at the moment, Tom, and I'm just wondering whether he's testing himself. I mean, can he survive to do the...
David, we've seen people testing their limits here, and maybe he's just sort of pacing himself, seeing what he's got.
Yeah, but, well, 2007 he was a third in the Milan-San Remo, so I'm just wondering as to whether he's just using, you know, getting himself organised for next weekend and said, that's it, I don't feel like I'm going to win the stage today, I'll just see how I can go. There's something odd about what's happening at the moment, don't understand it.
Two riders have just pinged off the front for LPO. It looks like De Luca and Metti. They're working for Petacchi, don't forget. These 10 kilometres are going to go by very, very quickly, David, and I suspect getting into position, particularly on the streets. All right, you've got plenty of view here, but as you can see, there are a couple of kinks here. The last one is with 2 kilometres to go, and I suspect we might have a big run-in. So here we are, we're clicking down to it. In around about 4 kilometres time, you'll see the road slew one way and then the next, and then really it's going to be eyeballs out from that point onwards.
You have to take your hat off this fella, though. He's been really doing all he can to hang out there, and he's out on his own. In fact, he's still got probably the thick end of half a minute, because the official cars are still behind him. They haven't pulled over yet, and they do that within like the half minute. So, yeah, it's 8 seconds, 28 seconds back to the group. Wasn't far out, was I?
And here come Liquigas to the front, a little bit early, but there you go. LPR have gone with them, so it looks like it might be between Bennati and Petacchi. We'll wait and see. But look who's stalking, into the frame. Columbia, and well, the Garmin boys haven't finished their tour either. Don't forget Julian Dean and Tyler Farrar, who did such great work on to beat Mark Cavendish, let's not forget, the American, on stage 3. This is going to be fascinating.
The other thing, of course, then, this rider rides the same team as McEwen, so everybody else has got to chase him down. So McEwen has got a team man out on the front there, stretching this field, and McEwen can sit in the wheels, find somebody to follow. If McEwen's got left in the tank, I don't know what form he's in after what we've been over the last few days, then Robbie's getting a ride to the finish at the moment.
He certainly is. He's being helped out here big time by Ignatieff. I think he fancies it himself. I don't know about self-belief, but he's got bags of it at the moment. Well, increase in stature. He certainly has in pace here. Look at him go. Kaisen's at 10 seconds and the main group 18.
That's it. I believe the yellow car went away, the neutral service vehicle. That was it as far as he knows it's all over now. When that car goes by, you know you buried it, but he's done his job. And that's interesting. I'm pretty sure that if Robin McEwen gets to the stage today, he'll be the first guy to go and shake his hand for the work he's done, because he's done the work. The rest are having to go after him. They still can't let him go. McEwen is, I won't say an easy ride back there, but he's in the pound seats, or the Euro seats as the case may be.
Oh, we are on Eurosport after all, and look at him go. He's still trying his level best just to keep out there. I think he knows it's all over now, and he's just starting to drift over one side of the street here. De Vos, he was eaten up as part of the 3 escapees, and so was Oliver Kaisen. And so now it all comes down to this. One man up, 3.9 kilometers to go. You'll just see the Belgian coming into your view. It's just been taken by the pack, and it's starting to go backwards. So now then, it's the run in, David. We've got 3.5 kilometers approaching, 3.7 as we speak. And well, the pace is a high one. It's being kept up there, locked up there almost. LPR working very well. Quick Step coming into the frame now as well, and Liquigas keeping it very, very high here. I don't know whether Bennati likes to come off a big train here. I'm just wondering who is going to be his lead-out man. So they need the pace. I'm just looking, actually, he hasn't got one, so Bennati's going to have to rely on that sort of constant pace, and then do it on his own, I think.
That's the trouble with this race this year, with some tired legs in the race, by the way. How many teams have still got some good riders left to do the lead-out work, and what they've been working their socks off in the mountains that we had yesterday, what they've got left in the tank, and that makes it, you don't have the same sort of number of riders in certain racing. Right, that's the team, that's the ride, this is that's who's going to do it. And there isn't that same volume of riders capable of doing something at the moment. You see here, they begin to turn over the liquid gas riders. They've had enough, and they're down to no more than about 1 or 2 riders. It's dribs and drabs, isn't it? 1s and 2s.
Yes, it was Kinziato who was out in the front there, Manuel Kinziato. This man, though, Ignatieff, it is all over for him. He knows that, and like a gent, just pulls over to the side. Done some great work, maybe for Robin McEwen, so watch out for that. The Katusha boys, well, it's Katusha make the old rocket system, rocket launchers. Well, they're going to need something similar right here, right now, and they're all starting to try and find a way through this one. The B-Box boys for the Bouygues guys, and there we have him. Mark Cavendish picked out, just looking slightly relaxed, maybe overly relaxed. This is that kink we were telling you, with 2 kilometers to go. Garmin still mustering themselves as well here. That's Julian Dean and Tyler Farrar, don't forget, who beat last time by Cavendish in that stage 3 race here. David, who's your pick? I mean, from this, in terms of teams, where do you think it's going to come from?
Oh, there's Roger Hammond as well. No, there's no consistency here.
Absolutely all over the place, which is why I asked.
The Garmin boys are trying to do what they can here, and I think they've only got 1, 2, 3 there at the moment.
Liquid Gas picking their way through again, and look at this, just pumping straight through to the front. One of the Milram guys, Astana also, and look, here come Columbia, and there he is. This is the big setup for Mark Cavendish here. Oh, Cab almost got barged. Just a very, very dangerous moment there. It was Coldo Fernandez, and I think one of the Quick Step boys has just pinged off the front here. Garmin are going to go with him, Julian Dean and Tyler Farrar, but I have to say that Columbia are looking the handiest here, with Liquid Gas also in the frame. Columbia have got 3 men in there, and one of them happens to be Mark Cavendish, and it's at the back. Filippo Pozzato has a go here, all on his lonesome. That's not going to last. Oh dear, there is the Columbia crew. They're just trying to pick out Cavendish here, and they're all helping each other here. Off you go, as one man pushes another one here, just to try to launch him here from Francis de Jeux also in the mix here. And there, number 132 is Tyler Farrar. Look at him go. He's staying with Cavendish. He thinks he can beat him if he stays with him. Well, maybe that's great strategy. Here we go then, the final kilometre. What about it? That's Tyler Farrar bedded in just behind Mark Cavendish. Who else is going to be in the frame here? It's a massive ask for any of them.
I saw Tom Boonen going backwards, I think, then. I thought he said to one of his teammates, come through. I'm not sure he's in the frame at the moment. So Tom's out the frame.
Here we go then, it's the big muster. Time to just gather yourself. Nobody going at full pump just for the time being. LPR are there as well. Petacchi wants a piece of this. So do the Garmin boys. Tyler Farrar's also in the frame, and here come Colombia. They made the break already. This is a long, long way out. And where is Cav? Is he bedded in behind? Liquigas joined the frame as well, and Bennati wants a piece of it. He's going now, and Cav has followed him. Bennati's gone off. He's pinged away. Left of your screen. Here he comes, and Cavendish coming through as well. Is he going to have a crack at this one? Oh, joy unbridled. Where's the line? And finally he's there. He brought his guns to the table, and he's just let them both off brilliantly, exactly when he needed to.
Well, 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 brilliant, absolutely.
What a day, what a day. And finally picked something out of it. Well, how ye of little faith. Ye of little faith. Brilliantly done.
I hope you still speak to me. But the interesting there to me, by the way, if we look at replay, I think Tom Boonen went backwards as fast as they were going forward. Good, saw him put his hand out, and that was it. And so interesting things we've seen today. For Mark Cavendish to survive what he's been through so far, he looked good early on in this race, but later on we thought he was absolutely stuffed. He's come through here and he's got it.
Do you know what he has said? Thank you for this tour, because it has given him absolutely all elements that he needs for this season. It's tested him in the mountains. He got beaten in the sprint by Tyler Farrar. Not this time by Farrar. Thought he might have the legs to nick it off him at the end, but Cavendish, quality will out, and look at him go. Here's the run in. Beautiful, just picks his man off superbly there. That was Bennati, who we thought might get it. Up comes Tyler Farrar, trying to nick it from him at the last, but Cav has found that gear that was missing last time by. Quick check over the shoulders, that's respect. Thank you, listen to the crowd. Fabulous.
Where was my man Petacchi? Don't ask the question.
What a day. Handshakes, well done. Nice to see Cav back firing on all cylinders, or both of them, let's put it that way. The Tirreno Adriatico, well, what an end it has been. We said it was going to be feisty, and it was. Cavendish takes it ahead of Farrar. Cook, well, Baden coming through very, very late there. We didn't give him much of a mention for the Vacant Soleil. There's the Liquigas boys. Job well done this tour, but it wasn't to be for Bennati, and indeed for Petacchi. I think LPR just blew themselves out a little bit early. What a tour we've had. The 44th Tirreno Adriatico draws to a close, and speaking as a Brit, how nice it is that Mr. Mark Cavendish has come across the line as top dog, at least on the last day.
And can we wish him well in the World Track Championship as well?
Very much so, very much so.
I'm not quite sure he's said he's going to ride the Milan San Remo next weekend, which I think you're working on, aren't you?
Believe so, yes.
Right, but I'm not sure. He said he's going to ride it, but I wonder if he's not going to do so. Now, whatever it is, then we wish him well in the World Track Championships, because that's his métier normally, but he's shown he's in fine form.
He's terrific. Yeah. He's finding something every event that he takes part in, David, and I think this has been a great test. Harder than some would have thought, particularly up the Monte Lupone, which he bravely held on. He's come through, he's found his legs, and that bodes very well for the season.
Can you imagine 147 miles that man rode with the rest of the guys there, and he comes out today and he still sprints like that. That is something quite unique. And the other sprinters, where's Petacchi? Where's Boonen yesterday, today? All right, you know, there were some guys there or thereabouts, but he's done that, and that is brilliant.
Super work, and great work as well from Michele Scarponi, who is there we are, confirmation, our winner of the 44th Tirreno Adriatico. Gazzelli pushed him very, very hard yesterday, but was never going to make that up. So Scarponi takes the blue jersey. As far as points is concerned, well, Junior Alferez picking up that one, and mountain classification is Martinez. But Cav wins the day. What a day, what a tour. It's been an absolute pleasure from me, Carlton Kirby, and David Duffield. Thanks for your company. Hopefully we'll see you next time. For now, though, in the sunshine, bye-bye. And we've just got enough time To have a very brief little breath here, David. It's been quite a day, quite a tour as well.
I've enjoyed myself, actually. I enjoyed the spaghetti marinara that we had last night as well. The rest of the Italian food that went down.
Yes, thanks to those in the restaurant, Mamma Mia. It was very, very, very pleasant.
So we enjoyed ourselves, haven't we?
We have.
And more so with Cav getting the final day, eh?
What a day. Ferrar thought he might be able to do what he did on stage 3. Stuck with him. It was the wise strategy from the American. But in the end, the Brit came good. Congratulations to him and, of course, to our winner of this event, Michele Scarponi.